And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Indie Comics Interviews. What are you eating, David?
Oh, is there like a sound or?
Totally.
Oh,
Is it,
shoot.
is it like chips or popcorn? What is it?
That's the gravel from the construction outside my house.
Oh, is that what that is? Like
Yes.
construction gravel?
Now it's like two in the morning, so I'm outside, so I don't wake up everyone in the house.
Oh, I guess you're stepping in gravel, and that's
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. So maybe I
that's
should go
funny.
back inside.
It sounded like chips or something. That's
Oh,
hilarious.
it's cornflakes. It's cornflakes. It's not
Just
construction.
just eating cornflakes. I kind of
Yeah,
got
exactly.
used to it. Anthony, welcome. This is Anthony and David. Everybody, say hi. Everybody, we have a small audience right now because YouTube has shit the bed tonight.
Really?
Yeah,
Awesome.
they basically tanked, and everybody was like watching streams. A lot of people got booted from streams. A lot of streams got pulled. They're back. Most of that stuff came back, um, but a lot of people, like just lost what's going on YouTube. And I don't know if it's back for everybody. You know what I
Huh.
mean? I know it's back for me, but I don't know if it's back for everyone. So we also stream on Facebook, so that's good. So that will also be something that our people will be able to pick up what's going on from there as well. So who wants to go first tonight?
I don't know.
David was on before me, so I'll let David
All
go
right. Well,
first.
David got the hot seat then. All right, David, why don't you introduce yourself and tell people about your book? I am going to give you the floor for a moment while you do that.
All right. Oh, I don't have a screen share option here.
No, I'll bring your thing up in a second. Why don't
Oh,
you
okay,
start
perfect.
yourself?
So, well, my name is David Feed, at least on the internets. I, I'm a writer and how do you say, hobby illustrator. And what else is good about me? I started studying biology, which influenced me to create like a whole how do you say, lexicon and pantheon of creatures for a fantasy book. And then I studied design, and I did some actually I did some internship work in California of all places, in some movies. And I was working as an intern in Green Lantern, and that influenced me in the sense that, I mean, that's where the first time I was confronted directly with American comics. And going through the Green Lantern books, I saw some drawings by a fellow Ethan Van Sciver. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And yeah, later on, I started to, I was a little bit late to the whole Gamergate issue, but then I hopped onto Comicsgate from its inception. I remember watching Captain Cummings and your boy Zach when they started talking about this, you know, thing that eventually became Comicsgate. And then I was like, yeah, I would love to do the same thing. And what else can I say? I Also, the idea also started as a novelization. I thought I was going to do like rather a book about my story. So I wrote the whole thing down, and when your boy Zach came along, I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna do a comic about this. And that's where the idea for Red Eyes was born, more or less.
All right. So
Uh,
it says it's like Conan the Barbarian, but with guns.
exactly. So the spiel of this world is kind of like ours.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine if the Industrial Revolution happened, but there's also magic and monsters and fantasy races and dreamlike locations in this world of Red Eyes. And the book, or the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 issues, presumably, is going to be about a small group of insurgent fighters who are in this desperate mission to save their land, if you like. The protagonist, the main hero, is the guy in the middle. You can see right there, and he is
The
right
protagonist,
there.
which one? The guy with the hat, or
That's the mentor.
so the
Down
guy
below,
right here? This guy.
the guy who's holding the chick. Yeah, exactly. So he used to be like a spoiled rich brat, but who was a little bit of a coward and incompetent. But he was the son of the general or one of the higher ups of this insurrection. So, his father always used to save his ass until he could no more because he screwed up beyond belief. And he's basically, he's sentenced to death, but the daddy cannot have, he cannot let that happen. So he's basically drafted into a very special mission, a mission of penance, if you like. And the whole story is how he goes about this mission, starting from being kind of a coward and growing up, hopefully, to becoming a halfway decent human being. And they're insurgents. Also, their land has been conquered, and they are trying to save it. And this mission that they're in the middle of is like a very difficult mission. And slowly but surely, they start to realize that it's more like a suicide mission.
Okay, so it's like the impossible mission kind of thing. I got you.
Kind of thing, yeah. Also, one of my biggest inspirations for this story is, on the one hand, the movie The Dirty Dozen.
Right, that's a great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very much so.
I was how do you say? While I was doing my internship, actually, one of the higher ups of this Green Lantern, he showed me this movie. He was like, hey, he showed me a lot of old Western movies and old World War II movies, and one of them was The Dirty Dozen.
Right.
And I was very impressed by it. And you could say the other main inspiration is Tales from the Crypt. There is a episode about World War I where the protagonist is, also the episode is called Yellow, and the protagonist is basically a coward, but he's the son of the general, so he kind of gets away with a lot of stuff until he cannot get away anymore.
All right, so let's I'm gonna just point to these characters. See, the guy at the hat, you said he's like the mentor. So
he's the mentor.
So what's he about?
He would be the Lee Marvin of this story. I think that's the name of the protagonist of the Dirty Dozen. Mm-hmm. So he's sent on this mission because he's the only one who could see it succeed. So he's an expert swordsman, but he's also like a strategist. And he may have been at some point an army general, but with the whole, their land being conquered, no one knows exactly what he was doing before the invasion.
Okay.
So the chick on the right of him, the one with the ninja outfit, mm-hmm. She's kind of the thief, the extortionist, the escapist of the team. And she's also a mystic, so she has this bond to the mystical world, and she can there's a whole unique magic system in this world, but the commoners would just say, oh, she's a fire and ice mage. The people who don't understand exactly how magic works, they would just say, oh, she's a fire and ice mage. Then below her
would be very clueless, you know what I mean, just in general. So it's they're gonna say whatever makes sense to them, right? So what would you say she is? If they're gonna say she's a fire and ice mage, what would you say she is?
So the thing is that the magic has like this. It's kind of based in reality that the things they can do is kind of the normal energies that exist in our world. So there's electricity, there's gravity, there's like the nuclear forces that control how matter works, and there's also acceleration of matter. No, if you accelerate something, it becomes heated up, and if you decelerate it, it basically freezes. Of course, the commoners don't have a clue of how these things works, and so they just see her accelerate. She does her, her magical thing. Things accelerate, and eventually they catch fire, no? Or she decelerates stuff, and eventually it freezes over. That's kind of how her magic works. And of course, the peasants are just like, "Oh my god, a fire and ice mage! Run!" Ah!
So she kind of like speeds up the activity of the molecules or something, or
exactly. That's kind of the spiel of what her magic can do.
Okay, that's interesting. And what about this guy right here with the stick?
So the code name would be Vegan Mage. At least during production, we called him Vegan Mage, but in the story, he has a different code name. No? So he's kind of the tracker of the team. He's the weird one of the team. He can like taste poison. He's kind of like a ranger, like a real ranger that like he can see tracks in the floor and say, okay, they went this way or they went this other way. He can brew potions. He knows a lot about nature, and he's not exactly a fighter, but he's like rounding up the team with these very different abilities.
Okay.
That would be useful in the middle of a very strange mission. You know, have someone who can taste poison and not die.
Right now, let's see. Who's this guy here? Or is this a guy?
Yeah, that's a guy.
Okay, who is he?
So that's a codename Emo Guy, at least in production. He now has obviously a different name. And he's kind of the wild card of the team. So he knows a little bit of, sword fighting and marksmanship and a little bit of magic. I think there's an expression for this, like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And the thing that makes him special is that he has this special magic that he can summon creatures from the mystical realm into ours, but it's kind of at random. It's not like you open a portal and then stuff can come in, but you don't always have this thing you want come out. So that's what makes it even a wild card, like special. Like you may want to summon, his usual monsters that are around him, but then suddenly nothing happens, or just like a huge giant monster that he's never seen before appears and then starts wrecking shit around.
I gotcha. So that could go really bad for him.
Yes. Also, usually the monsters, they are bound to him, or at least they sense him. So it's not as bad for him as it can be for everyone else around him.
Everybody else, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the two cats, they are kind of the muscle of the operation, if you like. The one in the front is more like the berserker one, who is not always under control. And the other one is more like the smith of the team. So he can repair their armor, he can repair their weapons, but he's also one of these giant cats, so he likes to bash things into a pulp, basically.
Okay.
And the girl below, that's the mute girl. So she's the sniper of the team, which is also kind of like the depressed chick that goes into this mission more because she wants to die rather than, like she knows it's a suicide mission and she's like, okay, fine. Yes, I can finally
sign me up.
Yes, rest in peace. Oh, yeah. And the two guys in the middle, they're more or less the protagonists. So the black chick, she grew up with the hero, and they have a very strange relationship. But because she grew up in the house as a servant, as a slave, and because she was really good and ambitious, she started studying and becoming a mystic, and she eventually was, adopted by the father. And on the other hand, his son was basically an incompetent coward that slowly but surely, was less favored in the family, if you like. But they grew together, so they have a strange relationship, if you like.
Interesting. So
Very
how long have you
interesting.
been working on this book?
I've been working on this book like forever. I think like I started working on it in high school. And of course, it went through different iterations. But when it became serious is in, I think 2013 is when I wrote the novelization of this story. And then it was kind of settled. Because before it was, like time travel and weird stuff and sci-fi and medieval fantasy. And I was like, no. I put it back to reality in like 2013 is the story as it exists now, more or less.
Right. Okay. So the timeline of the book is 2000. I mean, obviously there's all kinds of different time periods going on here, but you're saying that it's, it's kind of like a fantasy, like a combined realm, but it's actually 2013.
Oh no. Also, the story is like its own world. It's a medieval world, and it's just a medieval world where they have magic and how do you say, monsters. I know it would be like 1,000 and hundreds in the time of this book.
Okay, I guess it threw me off because of the cowboy hat in the,
Aha, okay. Yeah, no, there's like influences from different stuff. You see, there's kind of like ninjas and Vikings, but it all happens in the same world. It's just that different regions have different inspirations, if you like. So some regions are more like into the technology and they have rejected magic, if you like, and they are more like steampunk-ish. And some regions are like full into magic, they have rejected technology, and they're more like into fantasy medieval, if you like.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
the cat people are more like Vikings, and some people have like this ninja Oriental influence, as you can see. But it's all in the same world, in the same time. It's just the influences that dictate the clothing, if you like.
So would it be like well into the future, or just a complete alternative reality?
It would be like a complete alternative reality. It would be a world
Right.
very very similar to ours.
Hmm.
I always think it's like, yeah, it's exactly like our world, like a few years after the Industrial Revolution, but only that there's this magical creatures, there's the magic, and but it would be more or less our world. So the magic is not like completely out there that you can just snap your finger and cause the entire city to be destroyed. Like that would take a whole lot of time and preparation, and also guns are not like machine guns with infinite ammo. It's like you have to shoot, reload, shoot. It's more realistic. Also, in as much as a fantasy story can be realistic.
Okay. I got you. So your world has limitations that give the more challenge to the heroes involved.
Yeah, exactly. And also more of a chance. It's not like, if you would have someone that can just snap their fingers and destroy an entire city, that would be ridiculous. Like the heroes would have to be just as crazy strong in order to survive that.
Okay. So are these the same people?
These are the villains of the story.
Okay. They're not the same people. Okay, go ahead. Well, who are these people?
Oh, so the guy in the middle, that's the boss of this elite group of hunters. So the bad guys, they're called hunters because they've already conquered the land like 20 years ago. And so basically now they are just hunting the little pockets of rebellion that exist on the land. They're also called hunters because they go from town to town drafting people by force, and they push them into the front of another war that they're waging. So they conquered this continent, this land, and now they're waging war against another land, and so they need people for that. And so they basically just go to a town and draft a couple of people and force them to the front. That's why they call them hunters.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
And this is the bottom
Thank you.
part of that picture. I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, let's look at your tiers here. So you got a featured perk, which is the Dungeon Master perk. What does that include?
So that includes the first episode, an Ashcan of the second episode, and a special book that we are in production right now that is called the Sexy Monster Girl Bestiary. It's kind of an idea that I heard from other people who are doing this kind of campaigns to include like a bestiary, but spicing it up with a sexy monster instead of just the regular monsters.
Okay. So, are you the illustrator on this as well, or did you just write it, or?
I'm the writer. Yeah.
Okay. Who's the artist?
His name is Christian Culicelli. He's the artist for the interiors and for the covers. And a friend of his, his name is Andrea Guardino, he's doing the covers, also the colors for the covers. And a girl from Slovakia, her name is Frederica Valova. She's doing the color on the interiors.
Man.
Okay.
Making me jealous with all the names, man.
So
Jesus.
it's 46. It's going to be 46 pages.
46 pages total. It's like 37 pages of story. Colors.
Is it going to be perfect bound or staple stitched?
Also, the first issue is going to be probably stapled, and the bestiary is going to be perfect bound.
Okay.
That's going to be a little bit more thicker and chunky and more even. How do you say? Perfect bound.
And then this is the comic and Ashcan for 21 United States dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously you're sold out on your immortalized tier. You only had one of those apparently.
Yeah, I thought of keeping it very, very simple because the other thing is that if you go to the updates section, you can see that we also I thought of making something different with this comic in that you can also have it in German and Spanish. Like since I've done,
wouldn't that be expensive to print in multiple languages?
it probably will. I'm like
printing for each language. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really thinking about it, but since I already offered it, like, okay, you just keep it that way. And for me, it's like I'm taking this as a learning experience, see how it works with different languages. And at the beginning, all those perks, they used to be in the how do you say, in the start page, but not many people were taking them. So I decided to hide them and put them in an update where the links are just you'd have to go to the updates and check the links separately if you like. But yeah, not many people have taken them. So
well, it might be that they can't find them. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know to look in updates for stuff like that.
No, but at the beginning they used to be in the start site, and like a lot of people who spoke German and Spanish were like, not taking them. So it's like, okay, maybe, I still leave them there. So if someone is really interested, they can take them. And some people have taken the German ones. I think like 3 people have grabbed the German books. But that's it. Like, I think no one has taken the Spanish one yet. So we'll see how that works out in the end.
Hola.
And also the digital tiers are there too.
Yeah, Sim, how's it going, brother?
Not bad. How you guys doing? Red Eyes episode 1. So
good evening, Mr. Sim.
Hello, David. Hello, Anthony. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Fine, thank you.
You're the team on that book?
I know. Anthony has a different.
Sorry, I just jumped in.
No, it's all good. No,
it's good. Jump in.
This is all David, brother. This is all David.
Sweet. So you write and draw it. Awesome.
Well, you actually just missed that part of the conversation. Apparently.
Yeah.
I just wrote it.
Yeah, just call me exposition at this point. I just jumped in and recap.
Oh, that's good. I can recap.
Yeah. Why don't you go over for Sim who the cast of characters is? I'm not the character, but your team. Yeah. Then we might.
The working team. So me, I'm the writer.
Hear the names. I'd love to hear these names again.
Fortunately for you guys, I'm not the illustrator because I can barely draw to save my life. I love to draw, like I'm a hobby artist, but I'm not a professional. The guy who's doing all the art and the interiors, his name is Cristian Culicelli. He's from Italy, and he's awesome. He's pretty fast, and he's doing the art for everything. Right now, he's doing the art for the bestiary, for the interiors, the covers. And a friend of his, Andrea Guardino, he's doing the covers, and the interior colors are done by this girl from Slovakia, Frederica Valova. That's her name.
Those names are a mouthful.
Yes, it's
love the names, love them.
Well, a lot of the people in the team are like friends of the Culicelli. Actually, he introduced me to the cover guy. He introduced me to the girl who's doing the layouts and the designs and the logos.
Well, that works out though, because the people he's familiar with, so they know his work. Probably they've worked with him before.
Yeah, no, they've all worked together. Also, the 3 guys from Italy, this Guardino, Culicelli, and what's her name, Sagnotti. It's her last name. I don't even know how you pronounce. I'm so sorry.
I love it, man. It's all Italians, huh?
Yeah, they're all Italians.
Love it.
Man, and they've been going through hell with this whole crisis in Italy. And you would think they would have time, okay, everything's on lockdown, so they have time to work, but like their workplaces have been locked down, so they cannot go to get their computers and all their drawing utensils. And even if they can work, like everything around them cannot work, and so they have family who's sick or with lockdowns and stuff. So it's been horrible for them.
Yeah, my illustrator is Italian, and he's had to deal with it as well. So I understand that nightmare pretty good. It is crazy. With
so 2 days hit. 2 days left with $603 missing.
Yeah.
That's totally doable.
Oh, hopefully yes. Good thing is that I still have the 30 days extension, so I'm more or less calm on that regards. Otherwise, I would be flipping out now.
Yeah, but get out there, buddy. Go reach out to everyone. Like even if they don't answer, even if they say no, the worst thing you can get is a no or an ignore.
That's right.
Exactly. No, I am how do you say, swallowing my pride, or I am jumping over my shadow. Yeah, that sounds horrible. No way. Jumping over my shadow to.
Looks like you picked up a sale while we were talking. So you're at 1397. You were at the 1370 something, weren't you?
Oh, I got a new background? Oh my goodness! Thank you. I don't know who. Someone in chat did it, maybe, but
well, it'll say in your email. But yeah, you got another backer, so that's good. So
thank you,
progress.
whoever did that. Thank you very much. Yes, every drop counts. I'm insanely grateful.
Counts, every drop counts.
Did you guys go over the tiers yet?
Yeah, we did actually.
You did?
We were actually wrapping him up and getting ready to switch over to Anthony.
Cool. So. Don't let me
you want us to run your video? We'll run your video real quick before we switch.
Yeah, let's see the video.
Yeah, let's do that.
Did you put the volume?
I did.
Good.
"20 years ago, savage hunters from the north invaded our land. A corrupt force followed in their wake, and everything fell to darkness. Farron Fair was son of Keon Fair, leader of our insurrection, a spoiled, rich brat whose failures far exceeded his ambitions. Father always covered his son's successes until he could no more. Farron was sentenced to death for his sins and cowardice, but his father could not just let him die, so he was drafted into a mission of penance. Yet he was not alone. Commander Griergen, legendary hero of the insurrection, would see the mission succeed. Some would call it a suicide mission. For Commander Griergen, it was just another day. Red Eyes is 37 pages of pure, unbridled dark fantasy. With all perks, you'll get the Ashcan of Episode 2. Join the insurrection this April 2020. Only on Indiegogo. #ComicsGay.
I like it, man. It was good. It was good.
It's a nice presentation. I like the classic tone to it too.
Yeah, it does. It's like something like from the late '80s. It has this feel to it.
Hey, I'm selling you a barbarian, but here's some classical fucking shooting.
You got the mandolin. You got the mandolin in the background. The mandolin's going on for that.
No, I love classical music.
So it was good, man. It was good.
No,
and all these classical pieces are, like copyright free because they're so old now. So I'm like, okay, I can use that. I know.
Is Carmina Burana free?
It depends what
you can get. It depends on who. It depends on the recording.
Oh,
so yeah,
exactly.
So it depends on if it's a royalty-free recording of it or not. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice to know.
Yeah. You'd be surprised at the old classical pieces that you can get from different artists that are totally royalty-free. That's pretty awesome.
That's something that I think Zach was talking about the thing with the Conan the Barbarian. Now that some of this, or John Carter, like some of these are in the public domain, or at least in part.
In Europe right now, right? France and Europe, it's public domain. Conan is public domain, but for the Western world, it's not because of the the rules that Disney and everyone changed.
Yeah, exactly.
So right now, by keeping it in circulation, they can keep it as they're selling it to each other, right? So they're still keeping it in the market, and here in the Western world, I think now it's 75. It went to 100 years. I'm not sure. It's between 75 to 100 right now. It used to be less before it goes into public domain. So in Europe right now, they're publishing like the adaptation of the original novels.
Yeah, that's right.
Of Howard.
That's right.
Which is public domain. So they do all the adaptation, but you cannot get them here to regular market. You have to order them directly from Europe to get them because they cannot sell them or import them here, even in Quebec and French Canada. We can't even get them.
Huh. And I think here in the Europe they cannot call them Conan the Barbarian. They have to call it Conan the Cimmerian or something like that.
Yes, that's what the series is called, because that's what it was. Because the Barbarian was actually later, I think it was Marvel that named it Barbarian. That's why they're running with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be. I just bought the first issue, by the way, and yeah, it's called Conan the Cimmerian. It's based on the novels, and now I can do it here. But I heard that you cannot buy them in the States.
Yep. Nope. Not even here, dude. I'm in Canada, Quebec, French Canada, and
Nope.
we can't even get them here. I
That's
have to order
getting
them directly.
ridiculous with this copyrights and trademarks, and
I have to order them directly from a store in France that's gonna ship them to me.
yeah, thank you, Disney.
Where you stay at, David?
Right now in my house. Oh, you mean
I
the
know,
country?
I'm sorry, I'm from New Orleans. When we say it, it's a turn of phrase. What I mean is, where do you live?
Oh, okay, in Switzerland.
Gotcha. I thought you had an accent. I couldn't tell. You know?
Oh, I'm half Mexican, half Swiss, so
I
maybe
could hear.
that's the
I
accent.
heard. Look, I can hear that, man. That's where you had me kind of
Mexican, half
confused.
Swiss. That's an interesting.
Because I could hear the I could hear the Spanish. I couldn't quite. It was strange because I couldn't quite place it. But I thought at first it was Switzerland or Netherlands. But then when you started really going into the story and talking, you could kind of hear the Spanish undertone
Coming through some
Yeah,
words,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, now he's got me really thrown off. 'Cause I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no,
That's
English
cool,
is definitely not my first language. That's like, I don't know, like the third
No,
or
you
fourth
did
language.
not. You could, mine neither. I'm from New Orleans, so it's
Well,
my
that
second
seems like,
language
that
is
seems like a
all.
great segue from Switzerland to New Orleans. Why don't we switch over? And Anthony, why don't you tell the audience about you? And it's not just the YouTube audience. We also have people watching on Facebook right now.
Cool, man.
And just tell them who you are and give them the quick bit about God's hand before we dive into it. I'll give you this right real quick.
Gotcha. All right. Well, so my name is Anthony Figueroa. I'm from New Orleans. I've been around comics since I was a little boy. I got a comic book published in 2005 called Justice City Chronicles through Ape Entertainment and Light and Age Studios. I kind of bounced around for a while, but much like David, found myself listening to your boy Zach and listening to him talk about things, and started saying, well, you know what, I'd like to get back into this, and I'd like to do this again, because comics was such a big part of my life when I was a kid. And Katrina did a number on me, and I kind of got sidetracked for about a decade, and found myself back, full circle back into this place. And so I got inspired to do this book called God's Hand, which is about New Orleans, which is about New Orleans legends, which is about supernatural, occult. It's got action, adventure, mystery, the whole nine. And I think it's a vehicle to kind of bring people into the New Orleans flavor and get a taste of what it's like to be in New Orleans.
Okay, so the book is called God's Hand,
and
I noticed your campaign wrapped up in December 6th, 2019, and you're in demand right now. You raised $12,439 so far, which is pretty respectable. It says here that August 2020 is the delivery date. Are you gonna? Is that still on schedule?
Pretty much, yeah.
How far along is the book?
The book's probably, the pages are being colored right now, so I'm hoping within the next month and a half to 2 months I can have it out to print.
Okay. So why don't you give us a synopsis? Obviously you said it was a little bit of
right. So
New Orleans, yeah.
Right. So that's the team right there. That's the Jean Lafitte in the middle, and his crew. And so what basically the rundown of the story is that it's set in a world where magic is real, and the seeds of the universe of this world is essentially Lovecraftian in nature. So essentially what you wind up with is the ancient gods of chaos. All right. So these ancient gods of chaos existed, and from these ancient gods of chaos, every monster that is ever known to man is born from these ancient gods of chaos. So these monsters then decide to rebel against these gods, and they rebel against them, and then they banish them off into a parallel universe, into a parallel dimension, really, and seal them up in there. And so then what they do is they kind of go to war with each other for a second, and then they sign a truce, and they say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to divvy up the planet. And everybody, you have 7 families, 7 bloodlines, and each person takes over the planet. Each person kind of gets a continent, almost, in different regions and stuff like this. So this is why you have different lores on different continents, different monsters, different traditions and stuff like this. Well, in the meantime, what they do is they cast a veil over everything. And basically they use casters to cast a veil over the entire world. And so basically you as a normal person, you don't see what's really going on. So you could be walking down the street, and I use this example a lot. You could see somebody get shot, right? And it looks like it's a gunshot victim, but in the reality, it's not. It's a werewolf attack. But you don't see it that way. You can't see it as a normal person. So from that, what they do is they have these groups, these paranormal crime scene investigators, right? Occult divisions, and they go out and they basically investigate these things, and they find out what's going on. And so what happens is you end up with, all over the world in hotspots, you have these divisions. Well, New Orleans is a hotspot because for in that area, the 2 realms, the 2 dimensions between where the ancient gods are in this realm are very, very thin. So a lot of this negative energy falls through. And so you get these hotspots where these supernatural hotbeds is what it is. So Jean Lafitte and Marie Laveau wind up being here, and this is their neck of the woods, and this is what they do. They're basically partners. So Jean Lafitte, right before he fakes his death, he drinks what's called the waters of life, which makes him immortal. And then Jean Lafitte fakes his death. We follow the same track as history at this point. And so then he winds up going into this division and working with Marie Laveau. So what happens is they fall in love. They have on and off romance and whatnot. And then they end up into a situation during Katrina, where essentially a lot of things go wrong during Katrina, and a lot of people die. And Jean Lafitte takes the rap. He says, look, he loves Marie. He says, look, I'm going to take the hit for it. It was I did it. And so basically he gets exiled from New Orleans, never to return again. And so what happens is the story picks up with him and his team hunting down a monster. And then he gets a call saying that Marie Laveau has been murdered and her soul's been stolen. And they want him back in New Orleans with his team to find out who did it and who's got the soul. And so the story is basically about him returning to New Orleans under these conditions. They give him 48 hours. They tell him you got 48 hours to find Marie's soul, and then it's done. And so what you deal with is him going back to the city under these conditions. He's still hated because a lot of people died when he was there. There's a bounty on his head, and nobody really wants him there because he's basically the blame. He gets all the blame for what happened during Katrina. So as he goes through and he starts hunting all of this stuff down, he basically finds out that things that happened during Katrina are still left undone. And it brings him back to this place called Lindsay Boggs. Lindsay Boggs is a hospital. It's in New Orleans. It's still in New Orleans. Lindsay Boggs was basically decimated during Katrina, and no one's ever done anything with it. So the hospital's still sitting there. You can go there today, and you can't even go in it because it's all boarded up and it's got fences around it and everything like that. So it's been in the same condition that it's in right now since Katrina. So the story kind of ties directly into New Orleans. It ties into directly what happened, ties into directly what's going on right now. And that's the premise of the story. That's the setup for it. And then at the end of the story, when you get to the end, you have this closure. But once you get to this closure, you realize there's a lot more going on than what first is let out to be shown. And that's the long and short of it.
That sounds awesome. I love it when a comic or a story has this kind of movie plot where you have like a very specific time limit. Like it's 48 hours. You have to go in and go out, or it's over. It's like a ticking time bomb, if you like.
Right. Mm-hmm. It adds to the drama of it. It adds to the tension that there is a time frame on.
Very cool. So
And you only got and the book is 50 pages, so you only got 50 pages. So you gotta kind of say, okay, we need to make this quick, And so you throw a little. He's got 48 hours. Okay, gotcha. It gives you an excuse to be quick.
I see a lot of cover art here. Are there just variant covers or this?
All right, so if you
prints or what?
so those are prints right there,
Okay.
right? Those two there. If you go further down, those are the trading cards that got unlocked at 12,000. Those are limited edition. Those will only be during the campaign. Those two there. If you go further back up, this will go up one more, I believe. That'll be offered as a cover. I'm waiting for the colors to come in. That's Andy Kuhn cover right there. So.
Okay. So fulfillment in August.
Mhm.
Let's look at your tiers here real quick. Let's see what we got here. See your story time. Now, is this just the book here?
Yes, just the book.
Okay. And then this one's signature series. This is what?
You get the book. You get the book and a metal bookmark signed by me.
Okay. And then the international signature series.
International signature series is for David. So I laugh every time because it was like, this is like David said, you make mistakes. When I first set the signature series, I forgot to set international shipping. And I don't know. I ran this all by myself, you know what I mean? So I just was kind of winging it. And so someone hurried up and they got a couple of them before I realized there was like 10 of them. So I didn't want to hide the perk because I wanted people to be like, well, look, people are buying it. You know what I mean? You want to get it before it's sold out.
Let's take advantage of this moment, of this example, right? To tell people, reach out to people before you launch a campaign. When you come into this, go ask questions, join groups, reach out to people that have campaigns. Most of us are all helpful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
don't be a hardhead like me. Don't be a hardhead like me. You end up with scars and all kind of shit. It's terrible, man. Almost got a divorce. It's horrible. Don't do it.
Dude, it's the same thing that happened with the guys from Mortal World. Like, they launched their book. I'm like, I went to back and I jump on their live stream where they were, and I'm like, guys, I backed your book. I'm number 8. Yeah, I'm international and it's free shipping. Is that normal? So they went, oh, yeah. I'm like, are you aware that it can cost between $25 to $36 for international? And they went, ouch. Oh, they changed it. they fixed it. But all their shipping were free for like the first day. So, it's like, reach out. Crazy. People will give you a heads up,
Absolutely.
Technically, it's learn from our mistakes.
Yes, learn from my mistakes. There you go.
Yeah. Does a book come with the T-shirt, or is it just the T-shirt?
Well, you can get the T-shirt by itself, but in the each perk has add-ons, and you can add the shirt onto to any perk that's up there.
Is that Baron Sam?
Would be 2 books?
Yes. I'm sorry. I had 2 questions.
I was gonna say that's Baron Friday.
I think it's so many, but it's based on that character, correct?
Yeah,
it's based on that character. What I do is I take that and use that as simply one identity. That's one of his identities. Mm-hmm. He's essentially he's the king of the dead. One of his identities is Baron. But
he's one of those key characters in the voodoo and supernatural world.
Well, he is. I mean, it's he goes back into the lore. It's like Marie Laveau. You mentioned voodoo. It's like Marie Laveau's name pops up. You know what I'm saying?
He was also the inspiration for Shadow Man from Valiant. That's why he has the same type of death mask in his face. Yeah.
Yeah, he must have been, because he was he's essentially the guy from Frog and the Princess from Disney. I mean, that's who he is. He's the same dude. I'm sorry, and then I think Drew had a question. Drew, you were asking something.
Well, I was moving on to the next tier.
Okay, I'm sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like just basically 2 books, correct?
Yeah. When I get the colors for the cover, I'll add another tier, which will be a $75 tier, which will be you can get all 3 covers if you want.
Okay, so And then creator control. What's that?
All right, creative controls for the big dollars, man. For that, you get you get a bunch of you get some books, you get some out of print books, you get a copy of Count Carlos, you get all 3 books, you get a copy of Count Carlos, which was a book I crowdfunded in the end of 2016. You get Justice City Chronicles, which was the book that went to print in 2005. There's only about 10 or 15 of these things that even left in existence. Some metal bookmarks. I think you get 2 12 by 18 metal prints, t-shirt, hat, and if you can make it to it was supposed to be set for Wizard World New Orleans. And then what would happen is you could come sit behind a table at the convention with me, and you could do, basically see what the convention's like from that side of the table. And then you would basically be involved in laying out the story 2 and 3. And you would basically get to see the guts of the story, how the story is put together, plot points, character development, the whole 9. You'd be able to create a character and we'd put him in the story. And that's what creative control is.
Okay. So
for only $2,000.
Right, for only $2,000.
We
have one of those left.
Yeah, we got one left. Oh yeah, you get the artwork for the cover. That's the other thing.
Okay, so yeah. So I'm like, if the book is nearly done, how does that work? Is in my mind, I'm like trying to
What's that? How does what work?
The before mentioned items, the previous perk, all signed by the creator. I'm just I'm trying to think the whole this story and have it so when you're saying
this would be for book 2.
So you're talking about the next book, not this.
Correct.
Okay.
No, this would be for book 2.
All right.
Makes more sense now.
Yeah, it makes more sense now.
There you go.
Part. Yeah. My cat is laying on my computer and it's making this difficult. All right, so we've gone over your characters, we've gone over your tiers. You got a video here we can watch?
Yeah.
Let's do that. All right.
At nightfall, a string of murders in New Orleans has been uncovered. These aren't your typical acts of violence. The victims bear an unknown supernatural mark. When the city's protector, Marie Laveau, is found murdered, a collective team of reformed sinners with supernatural powers, led by the immortal Jean Lafitte, are called in to solve the case. As they delve deeper into Marie's death, they begin to suspect the rise of the Black Queen, an entity that has been asleep for centuries. Now awakened, her evil threatens to free the ancient gods of chaos and cover the world in a cloak of darkness. I smell human. As her minions crawl out of the shadows and threaten to unleash horror upon the city, only Jean Lafitte and his team of hunters stand between the darkness and the total destruction of the city. All help now rests in a team simply known as God's Hand.
Hey guys, my name is Anthony Figueroa, and I am the creator of the God's Hand story. This idea was created by a challenge. I was asked if I could create a story that was uniquely New Orleans, which would showcase the mystique and the flavor of the culture while using real New Orleans legends. Thus, the God's Hand story was born. To help me bring this story to you guys, I brought together the same talented team that successfully crowdfunded the Chronicles of Count Carlos back in 2017. Jesse Heggie, who did all the coloring on Count Carlos, is back, and he's going to use his amazing skills to bring the supernatural world of God's Hand to life. I also have Marcus Degisu back, did a great job on lettering Count Carlos, and played a vital part as editor to give the book that polished feel. And of course, I've got Armando Leduc, one of the main writers from Count Carlos, on board to help me on the production end of this. Believe me, it takes a lot of work to bring you guys a superior product. Packing all this talent into every volume, we're going to bring the God's Hand world to life so you can feel every raw, untamed emotion, every twist, every turn on every page firsthand. We're asking you guys, the fans out there, to help us bring this project to life. With your donations, we will successfully fund this campaign and get all those great rewards out to everyone who helped us by backing this book. Speaking of rewards, we have a lot of great perks and exclusive items that you will only be able to get through this Indiegogo campaign. Just to give you a sample, we'll be offering metal bookmarks. We will also have metal prints. We have cool limited edition cardstock prints, as well as an exclusive Indiegogo cover that you will not be able to get anywhere else except on this campaign. So don't miss out. We also have a mystery artist that will do a special variant cover for us that will be released to everyone who backs the book once we hit our goal. I can't wait to tell you guys who it is. So you guys getting excited yet? Because there's more. We also put together a special 48-hour early bird special for anyone who pledges within the first 2 days of the campaign. So you definitely want to get in on that. Thanks again, guys, for watching, and I'll catch you guys at the wrap party. Special thanks to Shane Bouvier, Christopher Leach, Brian Lodages, and everyone here at Heroes Corner for all the work and all their support. You guys did a great job helping me bring this to life.
Is Heroes Corner a local comic book shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's run by a guy named Nick Genovese. He's a real good dude, man. He helped me out a lot, and yeah, he's good people.
Well, right on. Anything else you want to tell us about this? It's a 52-page supernatural story.
Mm-hmm.
See here, we got the this is the official cover here.
That'll be the Indiegogo exclusive cover. That's the
Okay.
only. So you can only get that cover through Indiegogo. The other one underneath is the standard cover, and then the one underneath will be the Andy Kuhn cover.
Okay.
Oh, that one looks good.
Yeah, Andy
that
did a
one
good
too,
job.
yeah.
They said this pin up here. He said is going to be a print on metal, like the bookmark, or
If you get it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
if you get it. So is
Well,
there
you
something
get
here for it. I didn't see
what's that? What's add-ons? You got to add. It's all in the add-ons. Yeah, it's all in the add-ons. We're gonna throw in. We're gonna basically. What we're gonna do is we're gonna wind up making. We're gonna make at least one other card that'll be an exclusive card as well. And then we're gonna see how it goes, but we're gonna definitely put in. What we've created is called a lanyap pack, a lanyap bag, and lanyap is a word from New Orleans. Lanyap means extra, and so basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in some extra stuff, basically just for to basically tell the fans thank you for being patient with us and for supporting us, So that's we're trying to do that just to make because we know our original date was the end of March, and we had to push that back. And so just as a thank you for the fans to being patient, we're gonna throw in some extra stuff for them.
Are you gonna be right in time for Halloween?
Right in time, man. Right in time.
Yeah, I thought you
So
did
your
it on
original
purpose.
your
you know,
original
like,
date was your original date was March.
End of March, yeah.
So these are new. Oh, I see here. The original was March. Scratched out. The current is August. I see that. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So okay then. You were asking a question, David? Didn't mean to.
No, I just wanted to say that I thought it was on purpose because it makes sense to receive such a book by right in time for Halloween.
It's one of those God things where I can't even, hey, I take it as it comes. I try to do the very best I can, and I do my best, and I let everything else kind of fall where it falls. If it falls out there, perfect. Can't improve on perfection, man.
All right. Well, cool. I think that's very cool. So you guys, thanks for showing up and tell everybody about your books.
Thanks for having us, man.
Any last words that you want to tell people? Like,
just go buy the book. Make sure you buy it. Just buy it.
And don't forget to retweet.
Absolutely, there you go. Buy
like,
it,
retweet, subscribe to Captain Love, and
boom.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And David, anything you want to say about Red Eyes?
Yes. I forgot to mention this. That someone in the chat brought it up. Dreaded Dinosaur brought it up. he was asking if the shipping is included. So since we are printing in the States and in Switzerland, everything in the States and Switzerland, the shipping is included in the price.
Cool.
Well, that's cool then. So so $21 US dollars and that includes shipping. That's a good price. Yeah, it's a real good price.
Yeah, and the feature tier, the shipping is a little bit cheaper for international, the Dungeon Master perk, but in the States it's zero. It's included in the price.
Excellent. Excellent. I'll be interested to see how you pull off the multiple languages thing. That would be.
I'm getting a little bit scared with that. I'm like, maybe I did a good thing with hiding the perks now. So if someone really wants them, they have to go through the effort of finding it in the updates. Because other than that, like, I don't know. I'm curious myself as to how this is gonna work.
Yeah. Well, you'll know and soon enough, I guess. You know?
Yeah, if it bites me in the ass, well, there you go.
I
Episode 2 is going to be only English, maybe, or I don't know. Maybe it's awesome, and then I'll do it again.
Well, what you'll have to do is you'll probably have to print most of the run in English, and then have to do the one-offs, and then you'll like make no money on those books at all.
I mean, one of
probably.
the ideas that crossed my mind when I was thinking of doing it was you offer the English version because your biggest seller usually, right? But you can also offer like select the language of your digital copy.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say do a digital thing, man.
The translation, yeah.
Yeah.
I also have digital, but I offer them both and say, if you want physical or digital, here you go. But I'm curious as to the response of the people, let's say, and depending on that, I'll do it again or not.
Yeah, well, you're a little over $700 away from, I guess, a little less than $700 away from figuring that out. So,
yes, exactly. No, we'll probably fulfill anyway. So my plan is to work with my budget in such a way that even if it fails, we will deliver what we have already in backers and go to shipping, printing everything on our own, even if nothing comes from Indiegogo, because you never know. Maybe the money takes more time, or maybe it doesn't work. I don't know. So we thought, okay, whatever happens, let's keep the budget in such a way that we can fulfill, even if this Indiegogo doesn't work, or it's like so few that we would be losing money.
Yeah, well, you don't want to.
I want to gain the experience of
that's
that.
never fun. That's never fun, losing money.
Oh no, of course not. No, I mean, I'm counting on making money, of course not. But I mean, gotta be realistic. It's the first campaign. I mean, it's not like everyone knows Red Eyes or David Feet, so I'm being very, how do you say, cautious.
Yeah. Well, no, it's good. It's good that it'll get you for anything, it'll definitely get you some goodwill, especially in the Comicsgate community, to fulfill on a book, even if your campaign doesn't make it. But you said you had 30 days in reserve, and like I said, less than $700 to go, so you should get there.
Yeah, we're not pulling any critics. The book is done. The black and white is done. The art is done. The colors are coming in. So it's we're gonna fulfill. Don't worry.
Oh, fantastic!
Good deal.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Well, everybody, thank you very much for coming to Indie Comics Interviews and checking these books out. If you feel the need to back one of these books, let's see. Did I put? I got to put this one here in the description. Or not the description, the chat, so that people looking for it can find it. Let's see here. Yeah, and I already put Red Eyes in the chat. So if you guys, actually, I can put it in there again. I guess there's nothing to stop me from doing it twice. Just looking for it. Usually Sim's doing this for me, but he didn't. So.
Oh, sharing the links. Yeah, sorry, I'm drawing sketch cards. I have a bunch to do, so I'm drawing sketch cards.
Yeah, you do. You got a monster load to do.
Yeah, about 150, 59 or something.
You're becoming the Eric Weathers of sketch cards, Sim.
Sim sketch cards, everything.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, people like them. What am I going to say?
keep them coming. Yeah.
I started the thing by offering another thing was Red, the first channel we did it. Like let's try and get his count higher, and we'll have like a 3 sketch card draw, and people could just like select a character, like. And after that, me and a few others decided to do the same, but on people's campaign to see how that went, and it pretty much went well.
That's pretty cool. Very cool. All right, we've been going for an hour, so let's go ahead and call that a stream. And again, everybody, thank you for coming. And
thank you, Drew. Thank you for having us on here, man.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the
nice to meet you, David. It was good to meet you, man. And Sim, I'll see you soon, bro. I think Varian wants to talk to you. So.
Oh yeah.
Hail to the chat. Didn't go through. I see Z Rust. Obviously, I see David in there. Dreaded Dinosaur. Fade Salvation.
You're talking about that debate there, Anthony?
I'm sorry. Say again.
No, you're talking about the show where they want a debate.
Yeah, brother. I think I might pop in there.
I'm thinking about it. I didn't know who the hell he was. I might go if I'm not
Hey, let me know, because I may go with you, bro.
Yeah. And then there's Lothar D. Hail brothers, hail the chat. Thank you guys for coming. We're signing off, and see you guys on Monday night for Horror Night. Oh, there's Brian. Brian, you got a freaking link I sent you, man. What the hell, dude? All right, everybody. See ya.
Bye-bye.